1. Octopuses have 3 hearts, and 2 of them stop beating when they swim. An octopus has 2 branchial hearts that pump blood through the gills and 1 systemic heart that pumps it to the rest of the body. When it swims, the systemic heart actually stops, which is why these creatures prefer crawling to swimming. It literally exhausts their circulatory system. Plus, their blood is blue due to a copper-rich molecule called hemocyanin, which is better suited for oxygen transport in cold, low-oxygen environments too. The Eiffel Tower can grow over 6 inches taller in the summer, thanks to thermal expansion. The metal structure of the Eiffel Tower expands in heat and contracts in cold. On hot days, the iron can cause the tower to increase in height by up to 15 centimeters, about 6 inches. Not only that, but it can also tilt slightly away from the sun as one side heats more than the other. So technically, the Eiffel Tower moves a little every day. 3. Bananas are radioactive, but in a cool, harmless way. Bananas contain potassium-40, a naturally occurring isotope of potassium that is radioactive. While it's totally safe to eat, scientists sometimes use the banana equivalent dose as a quirky way to explain radiation exposure levels. For instance, getting a dental x-ray gives you about the same radiation as eating 50 bananas. It's a reminder that radiation is all around us, even in our fruit bowls. 4. Wombat poop is cube-shaped, and there's a reason for it. Wombats, the sturdy marsupials from Australia, produce cube-shaped poop, and scientists found it's due to unique elasticity in their intestines. The cube shape prevents the feces from rolling away, which is handy since wombats use their poop to mark territory. Their flat-sided droppings stack neatly on rocks and logs, acting as tiny poop totems to say, "This area's mine." 5. Your brain uses more energy when you're daydreaming than when you're focused. Counterintuitively, the brain's default mode network active during rest or daydreaming uses more energy than when you're doing a focused task. This suggests that zoning out isn't laziness, it's a powerful, complex function related to memory, emotional processing, and imagining the future. In fact, it's one of the reasons why people often get their best ideas when taking a shower or going for a walk. 6. The entire surface of your skin is replaced every month, but the dust it sheds is a major part of what's floating in your house. Your skin is your body's largest organ, and it's constantly regenerating. About 30,000 to 40,000 skin cells fall off your body every minute, meaning that over the course of a month, you essentially shed and regenerate your outer layer. What's wild is that these dead skin cells don't just disappear. They become part of the dust in your home. In fact, a significant portion of household dust, up to 50% in some cases, is made up of dead human skin. This also provides food for dust mites, which are microscopic creatures living in beds, sofas, and carpets, especially in warm and humid conditions. You're not just sharing your bed with your partner, you're also hosting thousands of tiny freeloaders. 7. There's a place in the Pacific Ocean where no one will hear you scream, because it's the most remote location on Earth, known as Point Nemo. This oceanic pole of inaccessibility lies roughly 2,688 kilometers, 1,670 miles from the nearest landmass in any direction. Located in the South Pacific Ocean, it's so remote that the closest humans are often astronauts aboard the International Space Station. When they pass overhead, NASA and other space agencies actually target Point Nemo as a spaceship graveyard, where they crash defunct satellites and space stations to minimize the risk of debris hitting people. Dozens of spacecraft have been sent to a watery grave there, including Russia's Mir space station. So in a strange way, it's one of the loneliest and most otherworldly places on Earth, perfect for burying the things we send beyond it. 8. Trees can talk to each other through an underground network scientists nicknamed the Wood Wide Web. Beneath the forest floor, trees are connected by mycorrhizal fungi, a vast underground network that links roots together and allows them to exchange nutrients, water, and even chemical signals. Through this natural internet, older mother trees can support younger ones by sending them extra sugar or nitrogen, especially in times of stress. Some trees even warn each other about impending threats like insect attacks by sending distress signals. What's even more mind-blowing is that trees of different species can be part of the same network, suggesting a form of cooperative interdependence that defies the classic survival of the fittest model. It turns out that forests function function less like collections of individual organisms, and more like a superorganism with shared goals and communication systems. 9. The Great Fire of London in 1666 helped stop a much worse catastrophe, the plague. In 1665, London was ravaged by the Great Plague, the last major outbreak of bubonic plague in England, killing around 100,000 people, almost a quarter of the city's population. But in 1666, just a year later, the Great Fire of London broke out and destroyed over 13,000 houses, 87 churches, and numerous public buildings. While devastating in terms of property, the fire had a surprising side effect. It effectively sterilized large portions of the city, killing the rats and fleas that carried the plague bacteria. The tightly packed wooden structures where disease thrived were burned to the ground, and with them, much of the plague's ecosystem. In the aftermath, London rebuilt with wider streets and brick buildings, unintentionally laying the foundation for better public health and fire safety. A disaster, yes, but one that may have saved countless lives in the long run. 10. The sound of a thunderclap can be louder than a rocket launch, and it can cause physical damage to your body without a direct lightning strike. We all know thunder is loud, but under the right conditions, it can be deafening literally. Thunder is caused by the rapid expansion of air heated by lightning, which can reach temperatures of 30,000 Kelvin, over 53,000 F5 times hotter than the sun's surface. That sudden expansion creates a shock wave that travels through the air at over 750 miles per hour, producing sound levels of up to 120 decibels or more. That's louder than a jackhammer, chainsaw, or even a military jet taking off. In extremely close proximity, thunder can cause ear pain, temporary or permanent hearing loss, and even internal injuries from the pressure wave without being directly struck by lightning. It's a reminder that storms carry a force that's both awe-inspiring and genuinely dangerous, not just from bolts of electricity, but from the air itself being torn apart. 11. Cleopatra lived closer in time to the moon landing than to the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Most people imagine Cleopatra as a figure from ancient Egypt in the same era as the pyramids, but she actually ruled more than 2,000 years after the Great Pyramid of Giza was built. The pyramid was completed around 2560 BCE, while Cleopatra died in 30 BCE. That's a time gap of over 2,500 years, whereas the moon landing happened in 1969, less than 2,100 years after her death. So if you were to plot a timeline, Cleopatra is technically chronologically closer to us than to the pharaohs who built the pyramids, which completely rewires how we think about ancient history. 12. Sloths can hold their breath longer than dolphins by slowing down their heart rate. Dolphins are known for their diving skills and can typically hold their breath for about 10 minutes before needing to surface. But sloths, those famously slow-moving tree dwellers, can hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. They achieve this by drastically slowing their heart rate by almost 90% when submerged. While they don't swim often, they're surprisingly good at it. This evolutionary quirk likely comes from their need to cross rivers in the rainforest. So the next time someone compares something to a sloth as an insult, remember, they're slow, but hardcore survivors with incredible biological tricks. 13. First, oranges weren't orange, and the color orange was named after the fruit, not the other way around. The original wild oranges from Southeast Asia were actually green, and many oranges in tropical climates today still stay green even when ripe. The orange color we're familiar with only became common due to cultivation in temperate climates and selective breeding. Here's the twist: before oranges became widespread in Europe, the color orange didn't exist in the English language. People used terms like jewel-red Old English for yellow-red to describe the hue. It wasn't until the 1500s, after the fruit was imported and named narang from Sanskrit naraga, that the word orange began being used to describe both the fruit and the color. So that big, blazing sun in a painting from 1300s Europe, it was probably described as reddish yellow. 14. There's a species of jellyfish that can theoretically live forever. Meet Torotopsis dohrnii, often called the immortal jellyfish. Found in oceans around the world, this tiny, translucent creature only about 4.5 millimeters long has an almost magical ability. When it's injured, sick, or old, it can revert back to its juvenile polyp stage, starting its life cycle over again. This process, called transdifferentiation, allows it to avoid death by essentially hitting a biological reset button. While they're not completely immune to dying from disease or being eaten, their cells don't age in the traditional sense, making them one of the only known animals with this kind of regenerative life loop. In theory, if nothing kills them, they could live indefinitely like a tiny ocean phoenix. 15. The Voyager 1 spacecraft carries a message in a bottle for aliens, and it includes music, greetings in 55 languages, and a diagram of how to find Earth. Launched in 1977, NASA's Voyager 1 spacecraft is now over 15 billion miles from Earth, making it the farthest human-made object in space. Attached to it is the Golden Record, a gold-plated phonograph containing sounds and images intended to represent the diversity of life and culture on Earth. It includes greetings in 55 languages, natural sounds like thunder and whale song, and music ranging from Bach to Chuck Berry, to also 116 photographs and scientific diagrams, including a pulsar map that literally points to Earth's location in the galaxy. The record was designed by a team led by Carl Sagan, with the hope that if an alien civilization ever finds it, they might understand not just how to decode it, but get a glimpse of who we were. It's the most ambitious mixtape ever made, flying through the cosmos in eternal silence. Remember to subscribe and like. It helps me a lot to continue making videos for you.